After the duel, David Carter found himself an unlikely hero, not just to Earth, but to a galaxy that had largely ignored humanity until now. News of his victory spread far and wide, and what had started as an amusing distraction for the Elzari had become a symbol of something much larger and undeniable proof of human resilience. Back on Earth, celebrations were in full swing. The survival of the planet was no small feat, and David had become a symbol of hope and pride. But as the celebrations raged on, David couldn't shake a feeling deep in his gutter sense that this was far from over. Meanwhile, on the Elzari homeworld, Zeyra was standing in the Grand Hall of the Elzari Supreme Council. In front of her stood Supreme Matron Yelena and the Council's most powerful leaders. Zeyra had returned home not in shame, but with a newfound purpose. Defeat had taught her something unexpected: respect for humanity. "We have underestimated them," Zeyra said, standing tall despite the weight of a recent failure. "Humanity is more than its physical limits. They possess a strength we have ignored for too long." The council members exchanged glances, some doubtful, others intrigued. The Elzari had conquered hundreds of worlds, and no species had shown the kind of tenacity that the human David had displayed. It challenged their long-held beliefs that brute strength and superior technology were all that mattered. Yelena sat her day silently for a moment, her gaze piercing through Zeyra. "What are you suggesting, Commander?" Zeyra stepped forward, her voice resolute. "We must learn from them. Humanity is not a threat, but they are a force that cannot be ignored. They have the potential to become allies, and allies are far more valuable than conquered subjects." Yelena leaned back, considering Zeyra's words carefully. The Elzari were proud, but they were not foolish. For millennia, they had dominated through force. But if humanity represented something new, something untapped, it might be worth exploring. "And what do you propose?" Yelena finally asked, her voice measured. "We offer them an alliance," Zeyra replied, "a partnership between our people and theirs. We have much to learn from each other. With our technology and their resilience, we could be an unstoppable force." The council murmured among themselves. The idea of an alliance with a species they had once mocked was unorthodox, but Zeyra's words carried weight. Supreme Matron Yelena raised her hand, silencing the room. "Very well," she said, her eyes sharp. "Send a delegation to Earth. Let us see if they are as wise as they are resilient." Back on Earth, David was trying to settle back into his normal life, but normal was now a relative term. The duel had changed everything. Governments, corporations, and even everyday people looked at him differently now. He had gone from being an ordinary man to a symbol of hope, and it was exhausting. One evening, as he sat on his apartment balcony, trying to make sense of the whirlwind his life had become, a knock came at the door. When he opened it, he was greeted by a sight that took him by surprise. Zeyra, the Elzari commander, stood there, flanked by two of her warriors. Her presence was as commanding as ever, but there was no malice in her gazillion purpose. "Zeyra," David said, blinking in disbelief, "what are you doing here?" "We've come to talk," she said, stepping into the room. "The Elzari Council has agreed to offer your people an alliance. I'm here to negotiate terms." David sat her down, still processing her words. "An alliance, after everything that happened?" Zeyra nodded. "Yes, your victory showed us something we hadn't expected. Humanity has strength, not just of body, but of spirit. You're a force in the galaxy that cannot be ignored. The Elzari respect that now." David leaned back, the weight of what she was saying slowly sinking in. Earth humanity had gone from being an insignificant player on the galactic stage to becoming a key player, all because he had refused to back down. "What kind of alliance?" David asked, narrowing his eyes. Zeyra met his gaze, her expression serious. "A partnership. Your people have a will that surpasses physical limitations. We have the technology and battle skills to teach you. Together, we could protect each other from greater threats, ones far worse than anything either of our species have faced alone." David considered her words. It was a tempting offer. Humanity had always been on the defensive, fending off dangers as they came, but an alliance with a powerful species like the Elzari could change everything. Yet, there was also something in Zeyra's tone, a hint of vulnerability that made him pause. "You want this alliance as much as we do, don't you?" David said, realizing something. "It's not just about respect. You know the galaxy is dangerous. You need allies too." Zeyra's jaw tightened. The galaxy is full of threats, yes, and despite what you may think, we do not believe in pointless domination. We conquer because we believe in strength and survival. But your people, you fight for something more. If we join forces, we can stand against those who would seek to destroy both of our worlds. David nodded slowly, understanding the stakes. The galaxy was vast, and the Elzari were not the only powerful species out there. Others would come, and some wouldn't be as open to diplomacy. An alliance between Earth and the Elzari could tip the scales in humanity's favor and give them a fighting chance in a universe full of dangers. All right, David said finally, let's talk. Months later, the alliance between Earth and the Elzari was formalized. What had once seemed like an impossible relationship between a race of war-hardened alien women and humanity had become a reality. The Elzari taught Earth's militaries their battle techniques, while humans shared their knowledge of adaptability, strategy, and resilience. It was an exchange that would shape both species for generations to come. And as the galaxy watched this unlikely partnership grow, David Carter, the man who had once been mocked for his ordinariness, stood as the symbol of a new era where humanity would no longer be laughed at, no longer underestimated. For the first time, Earth was no longer alone in the stars.